Standing beside me is the Lexus IS 350. This may be one of the most important vehicles for Lexus because vehicles in this segment, for example the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes-Benz C-Class, are really what get younger buyers and new buyers into the brand. The question is, does this car have the chops to compete with those cars from Germany? The keys to vehicles in this segment are as follows. Number one, got to have 4 doors, be a sporty, relatively compact sedan, check. It's got to be rear-wheel drive, check. Most importantly, it's got to have something under the hood that can really compete with BMW. Let's see. Lexus has put a 3.5-liter V6 engine, the same engine that's been in many Lexus vehicles, and it's tried and true. It produces 306 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. Now, when you compare that to Mercedes, Audi, and BMW, it's right on par, a little higher on the horsepower, a little lower on the torque. Every vehicle in this segment has 2 engine options. This is the IS 350, so it's the larger V6 engine. There's also an IS 250, which has a 2.5-liter engine producing 204 horsepower. Another common trait of vehicles in this segment is that they have no backroom space, no legroom, no headroom. This seat is so far forward that maybe a 5'3" person could be driving in front of me. Here I am, my knees are touching the back of the seat. My head is touching the ceiling. I'm 6'1". But you know what? My 13-year-old twins couldn't fit in the back of this car. I think it's interesting that Lexus has chosen to go with a small 6-cylinder engine for their entry-level IS 250, whereas you look at Audi, Mercedes, and BMW, they've all gone to 4-cylinder engines. So it'll be interesting to see where Lexus takes it. I hope they find a way to put a nice 4 in there, because when you look at the performance numbers, they're not even as good as a BMW that gets 240 horsepower out of their 4-cylinder. The transmission that's made it to both the IS 250 and IS 350 is a 6-speed automatic transmission. It's quick, it's responsive, and very efficient. One of the things Lexus has done is leverage some of the equity they've built up with the ISF, which is their 416 horsepower kind of super sedan to compete with the M3. So this is an F Sport. It doesn't do a whole lot for performance, but it's got the ground effects package and this nice white contrast stitching and some, seat inserts, the Alcantara kind of stuff, so you don't slide around. So it's a nice touch. Now, the bottom line with Lexus is I have a hard time getting younger people into this brand, especially if this is my argument for getting into the brand. And I think the big argument is price. This particular vehicle is relatively loaded at $45,000. A loaded 335i can run as high as $58,000. Now, hold your comments. I realize this is not a BMW, but if the vehicle is going to be $10,000 to $15,000 cheaper than its German counterpart, it starts to make a nice little value proposition there. And it's not a slouch. It's a fun car to drive. It's got the paddle shifters because it's the F Sport model. It's relatively quick, and it's rear-wheel drive, so it's really kind of done everything right. It basically is a nice alternative to the Germans, but I still would prefer to drive an Audi, a Mercedes, or a BMW. But if price is your main consideration, you may want to look at IS.